G'day everyone, how yous going? Thirsty Rabbit here, thanks to you. Guess what? I was going to bring you a magical second part of the series, feeding fish, frozen fish Friday video, but listen. Not good at all. Every tank in the house is off. We've had a blackout. Second one of the day. I wake up about 7-ish, 7:30, get our first blackout. 7:40, I'm running around, making sure everything could come back on. So I'm running around, making sure everything's back on. Beautiful, happy days. Then I started going around thinking, what jobs will I do today? On this one, I was just going to do water change and glass. Water changing glass, water changing glass, water change glass, water change pre-filter on the rack, water change pre-filter, and water changes and glass on them. But not now. We've gone into priority mode, and come about 8 o'clock, we've had another blackout. It's now about 10 o'clock, still out. We've had roughly around 2 hours of no power, and first thing I did was go check the power box. First thing, don't panic. Second thing, check power box. Establish that it's not just this house. And I went across, seen neighbour. Yep, his power's off too. The second thing I did was ring a mate, also into fish. His son is real tech savvy, and his son was onto the mission straight away and found out some information. It's affected about 800 houses, and the power will be back on about 11:30, so that's not too bad. So instead of going through panicking about everything, what am I going to do, what am I going to do, I was going to run over my mate's house and get a generator, hook up some hoses, find every single sponge pump that I got, throw in the tanks, get as much hose as I could, then go up to the local fish store, book up some hose and some filters. I was going to come back and do the hell mission of hell to try and keep these pumps going, but it turns out it's only going to be from about 8 to about 11:30. So you get 9, 10, 11, 3.5, 4 hour blackout, which ain't too bad, which would be good actually. So the main concern from that, all these internal pumps will be okay, but that pump on the FF6 before about 11:20, only go and unhook that and start to do a clean out pump change on that, get out any stagnant water in that pump. In these tanks, I'm going to, like I said earlier, I was going to do a water change a day anyway. So instead of doing the glass in any tanks now, I'm just going to do pre-filter and filter on all tanks, and I'm going to do water on all tanks. And only a little bit, because at the moment I've only got a little bit of hot water in the hot water system, and with this many big tanks you'll deplete all that hot water real quick. So the idea is just to stay calm, find out as much information you can about the blackout, and then proceed with what you got to do to keep your tanks alive in that given time that the power is going to be out. So that's the best advice I can give today, and that's what I did in my hobby. But like I always said, my hobby, I just share what I do, don't do what I do. But hopefully this time you might pick up something. The main point I can stress is don't panic. Just do not panic, and then just try and assess how long this power out's going to be. It's not always easy, but on this occasion I've got a time limit. So that's calmed me down a real little bit. And for now, now I'm just going to go back to keeping the heat in this room. There was also an issue, what do I do if it's going to be off for hours? Am I better off letting this door up and letting the sunlight in to try and heat up the room? Yes, good option, but there's a little bit of a cool breeze out there today, even though it's so bright and hot in the sun. There is still that little bit of wind chill factor. So I went with the option of keeping the door shut and trapping what heat I've got in here. And now all I have to do to deal with the next few hours is the stagnant water, which there's not much I can do there other than putting them battery-powered air sponges in, which I do have two in my tackle kit, in my fishing gear, to keep my bait fish alive. So I'll get them out and I can do half hour in each tank with each sponge, like put in there for half hour, put in there for half hour, then put in the next one for half hour, next one for half hour, and then just keep moving the battery and the sponge around. At least I'll give some airflow and aeration in each tank. It's better than doing nothing. I've checked out all neighbours. Like I said, I went across the road, checked neighbours, got friends on the line, made sure everything was... It wasn't just my house, so we've got the whole street is out. And it turns out my mate's son's tech savvy, like I said, 800 houses out. Oscar Creek, this was the other one. If you got any sump pumps, this is another good tactic to make sure that you're not going to overflow. And look at this, I don't know if the camera's on it, but we're right at the top of my sump there. Another millimetre went over the top and she would have been a wet ground. So yeah, this is my first priority when it starts back up. Get all the stagnant water out of that pump. I know all these other pumps are still actually in the system, so technically they're still the same thing. But my peace of mind, that's out of the tank and it's sitting in more concentrated badness. So that will be the first pump I attack when my power comes back on. These ones there, like there's still badness in this pump, but it's still diluting all this water. If you get what I mean, in the FF6, my way of thought is all that badness is in the pump area, not diluted through all that water. So that's where I'm heading anyway. That tank first, then come through and do a 25% water change and everything else, get those nitrates out, and get that poly filter clean for a big kickstart back in when these pumps get going. Alrighty guys, we're up to about 7-8 minutes now. Sorry I couldn't give you the feed and fish, frozen fish Friday video like I promised, but I might pump that in on a Saturday or something just for this week. So yeah guys, I'm going to love you and leave you here. All you can do is do not panic, okay guys? And always remember, I got your back. One love, one world, one hobby, one love, man. Come on, keep it peace, keep it real. Ew.